welcome back to Inspiration Education.
Welcome back.
In this episode, we want to stress that, first of all, being a teacher is no easy feat, but neither is being a mother, right?
Right.
And so we want to encourage all the women out there who have made the decision, the very tough decision, to leave their classrooms in order to be a full-time mom. But we also want to offer advice to any of you out there who are currently trying to make that decision.
Teach your kids to love to learn, and they will learn to love to live in a world where there's so much to learn through inspiration education.
So who do we have here today? I'm going to let them introduce themselves, but we have here two amazing educators who used to work for our school, and they're beautiful children.
My name is Lindsay Reeby. I taught at Desert Christian for 3 years in the science department. And this is Otto.
I'm Christian Simpson, and I also worked at Desert Christian for about 3 years in the preschool, in the 3-year-old classroom. And this is my daughter, Violet. Say hi, Violet. You want to say hi? Hi.
These kids have become rock stars actually at Desert, and we loved and honored you guys as you decided to become moms. Why did you guys decide to stay at home? For example, your original thought was to maybe go back in the classroom part-time, right?
You're right. Originally, I kind of wrestled with the idea of stepping away full-time and wanted to see if I could marry the two. And as we started to do more research and trying to find childcare and childcare that we trust and follow the same...
That's always a huge concern.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's follow the same values and guidelines that we want to instill in him. The more we realized it was like we were just chasing our tails.
That's a
and
good way
it,
of putting it.
you know, you think about energy and time management, and it just didn't seem to make sense for the current chapter that we were engaging in. So once we did that and did some research, it was still very scary, and I can speak more to that, but it was just kind of a no-brainer. We wanted to be the ones that were raising him. So, but even more basic, just in the sense of like, okay, if school starts at 8 and he sleeps until 7, I have to then get him up and get him across town, and it just elongates the day, and thinking about packing things up every night, and the fact that at the end of the day you only really get like an hour and a half with your kid.
Right.
Like, to me, the reduced income was well worth it to spend time with him.
Well, and too, when you think about how much daycare costs, and in comparison to a teacher's salary,
Barely break even.
I mean, now granted, you can contribute to your 401, which was a big decision for me when I decided to go back after my kids were 2. And I needed the mental stimulation, and they needed the stimulation from other kids at that point, was how I felt. But everybody's decision is different. Yeah.
That's what we felt too with me, because I would have been part-time, and we were just kind of looking like, okay, I can go part-time, but then does it really make sense if I'm spending money to pay someone else?
Right, exactly.
You know? So it's kind of like there's a little bit I get to take home, but
is it worth it?
Is it worth it? Yeah.
What's been the biggest joy staying home with Violet?
I think it's just the fact that, our days can kind of be set at our own pace, and that's been a huge, that's something that's a small thing, but that's also made a big difference.
Well, and that kind of follows the 3-4 model that you used at our preschool,
yes,
right? So you could speak more to that.
Yeah. So I think at the model that I followed was very child-led, and following the child in terms of them leading, and very play-based, and so learning through play. And so it's really awesome when I get to do that as a mom too, where I get to say, oh, she loves outside, okay, let's spend a lot of time outside. She loves to read books, we get to spend a lot of time at home reading books.
She loves Frozen today, we're going to watch Frozen 20 times.
We're going to watch the Frozen clips and listen to the soundtrack all day.
Same question for you. What's been the biggest joy about hanging out with Otto every day?
I would agree with the pacing of the day. It's like we wake up, and it's, now that we're entering fall, it's going to be a beautiful day. We could like go and spend the whole day at the zoo, or like go on an extended walk, or he's moving your stroller.
That's okay.
Okay.
I think it's
well, I'll put the camera. Is that going to be a problem?
It's on a stabilizer, right?
Okay. Want a fish? The Holy Grail.
Look at that toothy grin.
Smile.
Also, another joy is the fact that like he's changing so fast, and that I get to experience all of that.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, like Andrew goes to work and comes home, and it's like, oh my gosh, here's like 5 new things he did today, and I love that I get to be home and experience that firsthand, and not, you know, live vicariously through somebody else telling me about it. So that's huge for me.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that your husband still works at the school, and I know your husband also still works at the school. So that was a question that I had for you guys. What is it like to have your husband come home and talk about how their day was at school? Do you find yourself missing it, or what goes through your head?
I do. I find myself missing it a lot, and you know, but at the same time, it's interesting because, you know, this has become so much my norm at the same time that I'm just like, I miss it, but I'm also kind of like just so focused on how our day went too that sometimes I have to change, like, oh, okay, like you're also talking about work, that's also important, like let me hear about, you know, what's going on there and how that's important for you.
I don't know. I mean, so it's been really great having family in town to be able to help out with him. That I'm still involved at Desert in some very part-time capacities, and one of them being just subbing. So the fact that I get to go and because I totally am with Christian on that. Like, I worked hard, got my degrees, you know, had a span of employment, not only at Desert but other employers, and just to kind of like downshift really fast, what it felt like downshifting very fast. That was tough at first, but being able to step into a part-time role and be able to, I want to go sub today, and I get to fulfill that professional side of my brain is great. So I think when Andrew comes home, I still feel connected, which is good because we can kind of shift quickly off of that and then focus on family and stuff. So what is this? Yeah, help.
You got a little
schmutz.
Do you guys miss being in the classroom, being a teacher?
I miss the relationships with the kids.
I totally get that.
Yeah. I mean, the day in, day out grind. I mean, no, not particularly.
Yeah. You want to go home and lesson plan today, Liz?
You don't miss teacher meetings? Darn.
We're being honest. Yeah, no, I miss the relationships with the kids for sure. But like I said, I get to fulfill that with that subbing and being involved in different ways. And one thing like I'll add to all this is the fact that when I mentioned it earlier, making that decision to step away when I kind of wrestled with the idea, being that like I can do it all, I'm gonna work part-time, I'm gonna be a stay-at-home part-time awesome mom, this is gonna be fantastic. Whoa, homie. I sought counsel from some other young mother friends. What are you doing? And one of them, well, many of them, but one of them gave me the advice that actually ended up like solidifying that I was not going back full time.
Oh.
And she pretty much said, like, I mean, because I don't know, like, so obviously going down from 2 incomes to 1 is scary.
Yeah.
And I expressed that to her, and she's like, okay, money is not everything, which I guess is easy for some people to say and harder for others to actually come to grips with.
Right.
But when she said that and pretty much said, like, you will find opportunities to fulfill your professional and contribute financially to your family more than you ever thought you could if you just take a step away and have this space for you and your family.
Wow.
And it was great.
Powerful.
I mean, it was rad. And I was like, okay.
Wow.
Like, and she did it. And she was kind of like my living proof of that. And I'm so thankful she shared that with me. And it's been great to see how, like, opportunities have definitely come up that I would have never imagined if I would have tried to just, like, fit it in and just, like, I'm going to teach and be a mom and, you know, just opening it up and stepping out in faith, really. Like, it's going to be okay.
Did you find a similar experience? Well, either similar experience or what were some of the moms that spoke into your
So I mean, that was really good for me to hear from other moms who made that decision too, because I was like Lindsay on the fence where I always said, you know, I'm so torn. I want to go back. I also want to stay at home. I'm thinking of maybe trying to do part-time where I go back and then staying home. And but hearing from other moms. You're gonna share your mango? Can I have it? Thank you. Hearing from other moms and And that was so good for me to just feel that support, like, okay, other moms have done this too, and they've made it work, and it can be done. That was a big encouragement. And then also, before I became a mom, like in my head, it was just gonna be so easy, right? Like, oh, it's gonna be so easy. I know.
So what should other women out there know about what it's like to leave the classroom? Like how
Specifically.
Yeah, how can you help them with that transition?
You know, as a preschool teacher, I had someone else that I was working with in the classroom, another teacher, and that was really helpful for me because if I had questions or like if I felt that they had better insights on something that I was seeing, I could go to them. Or if I had ideas, I could say, hey, what do you think about this idea that I have?
Yeah.
And we were able to collaborate a lot, and it was awesome. And then I think something that was so different was then I was home and it was just me all day, you know, with her as a little baby, and even now. And you know, I have my husband who's of course like my teammate and partner, but he doesn't come home until the end of the day. So a lot of the day I spent, you know, having these ideas or these questions and wondering and thinking like, I just wish I had someone I could go to and say, you know, I have this idea, what do you think? Or, you know, I wonder about this, you know, can you help me figure it out? Or do you have any insights on
So you miss having that mental stimulation and collaborating with people.
Because certainly the teacher culture encourages collaboration and not to be silos, and I think that probably often happens with motherhood. Is you feel alone, you feel like you're silo, and it's so important to continue collaboration, whatever it looks like.
Right.
How do you battle those days where that inner voice wants to say you made the wrong choice? That was a bad decision.
I think the like I said, the hardest thing for me was the saying goodbye to the students, and they were just so sweet and so generous and caring. I mean, their personal little notes to Otto. It was just like, I mean, I just remember crying the last like 2-3 days as I was cleaning up my classroom. And I agree, like it's definitely like a silo feeling at first. And like I mentioned earlier, like the downshifting, I felt like I performed at such a high level with my jobs before teaching and then teaching and then coming into this completely new, like, what am I doing? So that was maybe not answering your question of leaving the classroom, but it was definitely like I used to be really, really good at this, and now I'm like, I'm not sleeping and I feel like I'm not doing great at this.
It's a new job and you don't.
And there's like zero training.
You didn't interview for this one.
I've had that come up a lot for me in motherhood, and you know, those just feelings of insecurity, those feelings of doubt of, am I doing enough? Am I enough? I think one of the things I always have to remind myself at the end of the day is like, Christian, the truth is you love your daughter. You love your daughter, and you are doing the best that you can. And even if I know that my best is maybe, like, I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to fail at some point. And just reminding myself of the truth that, okay, Christian, God, He's bigger than any mistake that you can make. And He can redeem anything, and He can make anything good. So that's how I get through those days. That's what I have to tell myself and be constantly reminding myself is the truth of that truth.
But if like you feel that calling to step away for however long, a year, 6 months, 2 years, whatever, do it, because I can't believe he's already 16 months and I wouldn't change a thing.
Oh, that's awesome.
I wouldn't change a thing.
This is probably like a no-brainer, girls, but any regrets? Any regrets?
I actually, no, I don't regret anything. Staying at home has been challenging, and there's been a lot of things that I didn't expect, but at the same time, it's been amazing. And I think I just want to offer encouragement to anyone because I was wrestling through the decision. It was a really, really tough decision to make. And, you know, I feel like it's important for anyone to feel that support no matter what decision they make, whether they decide to go back or stay home. But I think in staying home, it's just important to feel like is it going to be enough? You know, because I feel like sometimes there's this feeling like, oh, just staying at home, maybe it's not enough. And
because that's why I asked that question, is that do women sometimes feel like I am not enough because they decided to go home? And that is one big fat lie.
Yeah, and that's what I had to realize was, you know what, I am enough, and being a mom is enough, and it would have been enough if I went back, but it's enough if I stay home too. Bye, careful of auto.
Oh,
Yay! Bye, careful, honey.
Look at her face.
It's a totally different skill set, which is just so great too, because it's a challenge, but so like every day is different, just kind of like the classroom, right? You have different content, different student needs, but it's like, I mean, I don't know if there's any higher calling, and not to be like sound too cheesy about it, but I sought some counsel from some older people, mothers that have since been through this stage, and when I was talking about leaving, they kind of gave this analogy of like the workplace is like a bucket of water, and like you displace about this much water, and it's great, it's a good displacement, and the kids that are in your classroom, like you're impacting them, and you're working to improve not only their knowledge but their heart and their worldview and all this great stuff. But as soon as you leave, yeah, dude, and you leave and you start focusing on this little guy who's now your greatest calling, that water just fills right back in, and somebody else will rise to the occasion to fill that position. And for, like I said, for Andrew and I, like the decision was really easy, to just take this season in stride and learn new things and let someone else fill that displacement, but then have us be totally active and present in his early upbringing. Again? Again? Okay, again. Whee! Again? Okay.
So
what are you thinking?
You know what I'm hearing is that being a mother is also inspirational.
Yeah.
Just like being a teacher, and
Right.
and we want to be inspirational in everything that we do.
Education for lifelong learning. I mean,
At the
that's
park, it happens to be today, right?
Yeah.
With the teachers that used to be at Desert Christian, and so I just think it's important that we highlight that it's okay if you are a mom and you have made the decision to leave the classroom, that's okay. And it's okay, like Lindsay was saying, you miss the relationship with those kids, but oh my gosh, the relationship that you build with your own kid,
there's nothing
you can't
like
get
it.
that back.
No, you can't.
We're mothers, we get that, you know, but also if you're out there and you're thinking about making this decision to leave the classroom,
Talk to people. That's
Yeah.
one message I heard today, is talk to lots of different people, get a lot of different insight from younger moms and older moms.
because there isn't a right or a wrong decision.
right.
It's what works best for your family.
That's right. Amen.
So that's
Love
it, I think.
Cool. Great episode.
Yeah, so good to spend the day in the park.
Yeah.
We don't
Thanks.
get to do that very often.
Thanks for tuning in for something special. I think this
Yeah.
is one of our more unique episodes. I'm really excited
Yeah,
that we got to do this and honor moms.
honor moms and honor the classroom, to be inspirational wherever it is that you are.
Right on.
All right, we'll
Okay,
see you next
see you next
time. Bye. Thank you guys so much for doing this.
You guys take time out to do this.
Yeah.
Thank you, Violet. Thank you.
We gotta go to the park, but still.
Thank you, buddy. We had fun.
You say high five? Knuckles. Knuckles. Yeah.
Knuckles, pound it.
Bye.
Yay!